Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 188th ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the Revel Advertising Studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle?
Oh, my God. Was that your radio voice?
That was my radio voice.
Oh, my God, that was awful. I hated that so much.
I did too. I'm so uncomfortable.
I'm like kind of mad almost.
You're mad at me for doing that?
Already.
Oh man, I would say you just have a little work to do, but other than that, you're well on your way.
I just pulled that as a complete surprise.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I did not run that by them, and
it was not rehearsed.
I rehearsed it on the way here.
What episode did you say?
188.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it right.
Okay.
I
I wasn't like paying attention. I was like got distracted by what was going on.
I had to write down the whole intro, or else I was sure that I would like mess it up just because I was doing it different. So if anybody's wondering, that's my radio voice.
Was really something. Did I even answer you?
How you doing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm doing great. Just got off the phone with Eric Musselman, and
Really?
yeah, I've got an offer to play basketball at the University of Arkansas.
You could have at least said like do an Arkansas podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to transfer.
Yeah.
I'm in the transfer portal. And
Nobody's going to believe that they want you to actually play basketball.
Really? Oh, come on.
If they wanted you to do an Arkansas podcast, I'd be like, I mean, give me a little bit of.
Would you be worried that maybe I would leave for our rivals?
I mean, I'd be okay with it if you just gave me a little kickback on the payment.
That's all it would take, huh?
Yeah.
And you forget about me?
Yeah. We could do it on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cam's pretty good at monologuing.
Good radio voice too.
Thanks. We're going to talk about a new assistant coach was hired. Finally, we have a staff member. There's basketball players visiting this weekend. We're going to kind of look at the basketball roster, figure out what's going on with it. But before we do any of that, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave us a review on the podcast platform you listen to us on, and check us out on Patreon if you want to support the podcast, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. What's so funny, Kyle?
I can't stop thinking about it. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, I really had to work up the gumption to just let it loose like that.
Took a lot of courage.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you, man.
Did you watch the national championship game?
For what sport?
There was the basketball one.
Oh yeah. I did. No, I watched the second half.
Okay.
Second half.
I honestly didn't watch that much of it. I actually watched Kansas kind of like, start off really well, and I was like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, the first half was weird. The Kansas started off like amazing, and then North Carolina went on a huge run and ended the first half up by like 10 points.
I think they were up 15 at halftime.
15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my.
And then they lost.
And then they lost the game.
Yeah.
Man.
So there was a lot of conversation, a lot of articles or whatever tweets about the fact there were 3 Missouri kids in the national championship.
You're gonna bring that up, really?
Oh, might as well. You got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing about it.
All right, moving on.
It's awful,
Yeah.
really, to think about,
Yeah.
honestly. But that's not going to happen anymore.
You don't think?
No.
No more Missouri kids in the national championship.
Dennis Gates is locking down the borders, okay?
I hope so. At least keep somebody in.
Yeah.
They've already kept one. Aidan Shaw. Welcome back.
What an insane run by Caleb Love, too, by the way.
Seriously.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. They
Yeah.
were like totally just average all year long, and then they just get insanely hot at the end of the year.
8 seed all the way to the national championship. Yeah, if that was like a mid-major team that was an 8 seed and did that, that'd be like an all-time historic run.
Mm-hmm.
Like Butler style. Yeah, he was really fun to watch, and I think honestly he improved his draft stock tremendously in this tournament, which is kind of weird. I feel like, did we talk about this on the podcast or just in private?
No, I think in private.
Okay. It's weird that an NCAA tournament run can have that much of an effect on your draft stock,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like his will definitely see a bump. I don't know. Still maybe a second rounder though, probably. Yeah, it just kind of. I did get tired of hearing about that as well, but yeah, they're just like a alternate timeline where something else happens and Missouri keeps all these guys, and that would be incredible. Why is Agbaji still at Kansas? Why did he?
I wondered about that.
Like
Last year,
yeah.
why did he come back?
Yeah.
He just knew they were going to win it all, man.
I randomly came across a YouTube video that was titled, it was like Kansas versus Texas Tech from, I guess, early March 2020. And it was the last game played before all the conference tournaments were canceled for COVID. And Kansas was the number 1 team in the country. And they were talking about his draft stock like being decent that year, his sophomore year. So I don't know. One of these days,
just having a blast, man. In college.
One of these days, Missouri will have a kid that they keep in state that plays all 4 years and takes us to the Final Four.
Someday.
I guess we'll jump right into talking about Aidan Shaw. He is back, folks. Back in the fold for Mizzou basketball. Committed previously under Conzo Margarine and asked for his release.
Conzo Margarine.
Conzo Butterfingers. Just let some slip right out of his hands.
That was pretty good.
Sorry.
So he's back.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Big news.
Yeah.
Aiden Shaw is, I mean, he's a top 50-ish prospect in the country. 6'8", 6'9", forward, really athletic, can shoot. I mean, really long arms. He's an impressive prospect.
Yeah, I think we had definitely talked about him on the podcast when he first committed, but just a little refresher. He played his senior season of high school basketball since then, basically, and I think he looks more polished offensively now than he did when he first committed, and he just kind of reinforced the fact that he'll be able to contribute, I think, on the defensive end day one. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't start, I feel like he'll get a lot of minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
And he will be a versatile defender that can probably guard the 3, 4, and 5 spots. And I won't be like terrified if he gets switched onto a guard either. I'm not saying he should be guarding the other team's best guard all the time, but it wouldn't be a big deal if he gets switched onto him.
Yeah, I think he averaged like 22 points a game his senior year.
Yeah, he was pretty dominant his senior year. So happy to have him back. And the biggest news of the day is we hired an assistant coach, the associate head coach, I think, Charlton Young of Florida State. So I'm just right off the bat, I kind of love this hire. I feel like there's probably some folks that maybe don't love how much this is looking like Florida State 2.0, but I honestly don't think that's a bad thing, and I think we have 2 of the like foundational pieces that got Florida State to where they have been the last 10 years or so. Mm-hmm. And I think Young, he has head coaching experience. He is a dynamite recruiter.
Yeah, he's known for recruiting for sure.
Yeah, like
worked with a lot of NBA players.
The last couple years, he's been considered one of the top assistants in the country.
Yep.
So I think this is a really good hire. I'm excited. I think he will get to work day one trying to get some of these transfers on board. And I just think this is a really good sign for the future of Mizzou basketball in general and specifically recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough to turn heads with an assistant coach hire, but I think this will turn some heads, and he's going to be compensated pretty well. I think he's going to be, it's like a $1.8 million over 3 years. Mm-hmm. $600,000 a year is good for an assistant. And, I wonder what the process has looked like. It's taken a little bit of time to get the staff started. So I wonder if there was just some discussion about compensation maybe, or, maybe even Gates just kind of put the assistant coach expenditures on the back burner for a little bit while they focused on recruiting. I don't know, but I'm really satisfied for sure with this hire.
I'm still cracking up about that intro.
Oh, you're just laughing at yourself now,
yeah.
huh?
I was laughing at your guys' reactions. You were like hiding.
I just wanted it to be
like,
over.
oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening
It's
right
like,
now.
please let it be done.
I know.
Charlton Young was a head coach at Georgia Southern for 4 years. Florida State's like little bio about him said that he, I don't know, they made him sound a little bit better than he was, I think, at Georgia Southern.
Yeah, so Georgia Southern was like one of the top, I don't know, like mid-major
Yeah.
programs or something like that.
They said that he like elevated them to like a mid-major contender or some.
Yeah, a little, but
Something
didn't
like
actually
that.
really say a record or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little generous.
Yeah. So Georgia Southern, not an awesome program. He went 500 in his best season there, and eventually was let go, and then wound up at Florida State, where he'd been, I think, the last 9 seasons, and he has just been absolutely instrumental in their success. And I was looking back at their recent history under Leonard Hamilton, and I don't know. I think if you model your program after that program, you'll be fine. And I honestly feel like there's no reason to see Florida State's floor as Missouri's floor, or Florida State's ceiling as Missouri's ceiling.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, in the last decade, like 8 tournament appearances is like a couple Sweet 16s and
Yeah.
Elite 8.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they've been really good in the
Right.
last decade when he's been there.
yeah. And I feel like it all comes down to keeping your in-state talent for Mizzou. And Florida State has so much competition for their in-state recruits. Obviously, Missouri has Illinois and Kansas on either side of them, and that's always going to be tough. But I don't know. When you see players playing in the national championship game that are from Columbia, Missouri, you know, that's something that we can work with, I would think, moving forward. What would you grade this hire? Like if you were a teacher and you were grading things.
A minus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there. I don't know. I'll give it a A, no minus.
Nice.
I can't think if you're. I mean, maybe like John Beeline would be like the only thing that I would think would be like better than this. I heard he was in the mix for an assistant position.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to be hiring some more assistants. I would guess that probably the Florida State connection will probably end here.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. There's been talk of maybe.
Hiring Leonard Hamilton.
Yep. Just bringing him on board.
As an assistant.
Leonard Hamilton and John Beeline together, I think.
Yeah,
They're
that'll finish
going
out
to
the
take
staff.
those last 2 spots.
Yep.
But actually, the assistants that Gates had at Cleveland State, they were passed over for the head coaching position at Cleveland State. So there might be some mutual interest there. In a vacuum, I don't necessarily love that idea. But if these are guys that he's comfortable with and they have the connections that he's looking for that he thinks will translate to the Missouri program, I'm fine with it, especially considering this hire. Like I said, in a vacuum, I don't love bringing those guys on board necessarily, but I'll feel better about it knowing that we have Young locked down. You want them? You want the Cleveland State guys?
In Gates we trust.
Yeah. That's all we can do at this point.
Yeah, I
But
feel like at some point, like I'm not even so knowledgeable of like assistants like that are out there that I don't. At some point, I have no idea what's a good hire for assistants. Like
Yeah.
I'll just admit, like when you're talking about like your third assistant,
Right.
If it's somebody you trust with good connections, that like you said, then
somebody with a good
good head on their shoulders.
good head on their shoulders, I'd also like a son that's a really good basketball
or
player.
that, yeah.
I'll be fine. I'm still open to that.
You're looking for that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of I was thinking maybe we should take stock of the roster with our new additions, and let's just speculate a little bit on what we think might happen the rest of the way. So from last year's team that have not entered the transfer portal yet, may never, maybe they all will, we don't know. I have these players as of right now returning next year, unless they decide to enter the transfer portal. Returning next year unless they don't. And I have Kobe Brown, Boogie Coleman, Amari Davis, Ronnie DeGray, Caleb Brown, and Yaya Keita. Then we have new additions, Mohamed Diarra, DeAndre Golston, and now Aidan Shaw. So that's 9 players. So we've got 3 spots left.
3 or 4.
3 or 4, however that works. And do you see, like, okay, I went ahead and wrote a question mark next to Yaya Keita. Do you think he's back next year?
I don't know, man. It's tough to say. He's really dealt with injuries and stuff. He wasn't like an elite high school prospect. He's high motor, good rebounder,
Good athlete.
good athlete. Not a great scorer or anything, but a guy that's going to work hard and give you his best when he's out there.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. I mean, I feel like if he is still here, then he's. I mean, I don't know what the window is for typically people transferring, but I kind of feel like if he was going to, probably already would have probably.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I could definitely see him taking kind of like a Mitchell Smith route, and like, I don't know, if I was in charge of things, maybe I would, no matter how his recovery is going this offseason, just be like, hey, our plan is for you to redshirt this coming season. And that's like kind of what Mitchell Smith did. He played some as a true freshman, got hurt, redshirted the entire next season, and then still had 3 more years to play.
Yeah, I feel like a red shirt is pretty rare in college basketball nowadays, especially with the younger players. But obviously, like you said, injuries involved. If he really wants to be at Mizzou, and I don't think that he's going to have a whole lot of like better options necessarily, at least right now. So yeah, that could definitely be something they look at.
The Brown brothers, it's been radio silence from them, which is intriguing. I don't know. We haven't even really heard much like that. Kobe Brown. I just figured by now we would hear something like Kobe Brown has met with Coach Gates and they've talked about the future or something. Mm-hmm. Or obviously he's not in the transfer portal, so at this point it looks like he's sticking around and there's not going to be any drama with it at all.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if he were to transfer, I'd be nervous about him maybe wanting to go back home to Alabama. But I do wonder if the brothers just being there together makes a difference, and them just kind of saying like, we're going to stick it out together. And if it was only Kobe, I wonder if the situation's different maybe. And again, he only has 1 year left. Well, unless you COVID year, all that. But he is a senior next year, so he may have just figured he's gonna just finish his career here.
And Coleman and Davis, I feel like there has to have been. I mean, they have to know that this coaching staff is trying to find players to start over them.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what the thought process is there, and I'm not sure if they were to transfer again, if they'd have to sit a year, because they've already transferred once, but it's possible they could get a waiver because of the coaching change. If they are able to get a waiver, wouldn't you think that they would think about that?
I would think so, but perhaps Coach Gates liked enough of what he saw from them and just didn't like the role they were in. And he
use them a different way.
Yeah, I could see him coming in and be like, listen, you're not going to be doing what you were last year, but here's my vision for how you would work in this system. If you don't like the sound of that, I'll try to help you get a waiver.
Yeah, I mean, Boogie proved he can shoot reliably if he's not being relied upon to do too much and ball handling and all that.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we know what Davis brings.
He's got like one. I think they both have 1 year left.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Ronnie DeGray, I think he's like a guy that Coach Gates, in my opinion, should be actively recruiting to stay a part of this team.
I agree.
So then how are you feeling about Diarra, Golston, and Shaw now being the 3 players confirmed to be coming in?
I think Diarra is probably a starter next year. And anytime you're bringing in a guard that's a graduate transfer, there's like a pretty good chance they're going to play a lot as well. So, I feel like Golston is probably going to play a decent amount, and we still don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the spots, obviously, but this team's pretty desperate for ball handling right now. And, he didn't shoot super well from three, I don't think, at Wisconsin. Or, excuse me, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yeah.
But, he always found a way to score. I mean, he averaged like 15 points, I guess, over his 2 seasons at Milwaukee.
So do you feel comfortable penciling in Diarra and Kobe Brown as starters?
I think so.
At like the 5 and 4 spots?
Yeah.
And then probably the 1, 2, 3 are all up for grabs?
Yeah.
We could probably pencil in Golston or Shaw at the 3 potentially, or do you see Shaw more as like a backup to Brown at the 4?
I think that's the way I see it. I think I see Shaw playing a little more forward at the college level.
Yeah, that makes sense. If he develops an outside shot that's reliable, then that would just add some flexibility to him. But so yeah, man, we need guards.
We do.
Still. So this weekend, we got some visitors. 2 visitors from Cleveland State. And they both have incredible names. Trey Gomillion and Demoy Hodge. They both have 1 year of eligibility remaining, both 6'4". I got to look and see which one's more of a guard and which one's more of a forward.
Gomillion's more of a forward. Hodge is the guard.
Gotcha.
Hodge is a little more intriguing to me personally. He averaged like 15 points a game, shot like 33% from 3.
He was the high volume.
Yes, he shot a lot of threes, and I feel like he was the only one on their whole team that really shot high volume threes. I think there would definitely be a spot for him on Mizzou's roster next year. I think he could fit in for sure. Gomillion, I'm not totally sold for sure that he is a fit for Mizzou right now. I think he averaged like 10 points a game. He's pretty undersized for the position he played at Cleveland State. It worked in the Horizon League. I don't think it works in the SEC. But I don't want to write somebody off completely. And if there's a decent chance that if he is taking a visit to Missouri, then they're interested. So
yeah, I would agree. I think I just echo what you say. Hodge shot 173 3-pointers. That's more than anybody on Mizzou's roster this past season. Boogie Coleman shot 146, which seems like a lot, actually. Yeah. Nobody else shot more than 100. DeGray and Pickett were both in the 70s. Man. That was such a bad shooting team.
Horrible.
I've never seen anything quite like that. And they were bad 2 years ago, shooting threes. And it just got worse. That's still wild. Other visitors this weekend. Noah Carter from Northern Iowa. You watch a lot of Missouri Valley basketball. What can you tell us about Noah Carter?
He's a little bit undersized, again, for like a forward, but I think that's probably what he's best suited for, is probably the 4 spot. I think he's like 6'6", maybe 6'7". But I think he averaged 15, 16 points at Northern Iowa last year. I don't know how well he shot from 3, honestly, though.
28%.
Not great. On like probably not very high volume either.
128 attempts.
Wow. Okay, that's surprising.
Yeah. But he shot 60% from 2.
Yeah.
So his effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, all that was pretty decent.
Yeah, I think Northern Iowa runs a pretty unique offense, and he played alongside AJ Green, who is an amazing
wide receiver
in the NFL. Yes, and also he's a fantastic player for Northern Iowa, and he kind of makes that offense function. I don't think Mizzou has a player like AJ Green that makes their offense work, and I kind of think it was just kind of a gimmicky offense that he worked really well in. AJ
Green shot 237 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And he shot 39%.
Yeah, he's incredible. Honestly, I'm really surprised AJ Green still plays for Northern Iowa, and I feel like he could probably transfer anywhere because he's unreal. But anyways, again, I don't know. I'm not super sold on Noah Carter. I think that we're fairly set at the position that he would play. especially if we're giving a look to Turnbull, which we'll talk about him in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wouldn't be a horrible ad for by any means, but I don't think he excites me quite as much as other people that might be visiting.
Yeah, he played the 5 spot for Northern Iowa.
Yeah, Northern Iowa was
at 6'6".
really small.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to think, I mean, you'd be bringing him in to back up Diarra or play the 4 spot, which doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
Yeah. Jason Roach from Citadel. Let me look him up.
Yeah, this is talk about a gimmicky player potentially.
The Citadel.
The Citadel. Yes, not Citadel. He is an amazing 3-point shooter. Just that's all he does. Literally, that's all he does. He's a specialist, and he is the dude that just runs around off screens and puts up ridiculous threes and makes a lot of them.
Haven't
like
40,
had
one
40%.
of those. Haven't had one of those in a while.
Yeah. Well, how many shoes? How many shoes? How many shoes did he shoot? How many threes did he shoot?
248.
Wow.
And he shot 39%.
Yeah, almost exactly what AJ Green.
As a freshman.
I was gonna say, is he a freshman?
Yeah. I'm trying to compare that to 248 threes.
That's got to be like top 10 in volume, right?
I'm just wanting to see. So Cassius Robertson, his 1 year at Missouri, he shot 237. That's a lot. He shot 44%. And Jordan Barnett shot 194 threes, and he also shot 42%.
Wow. That was a Conto team.
Barely.
Yeah, barely actually.
Oh man, that's yeah.
That'll never happen again.
Give me Jason.
Yeah, I would actually. He's probably one of the most exciting players that's visiting this weekend to me because he just fills a need that we are so desperate for and haven't had in such a long time. And he would have 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah, sign me up for that immediately. Then the last visitor I have on my list is Dylan Penn from, I have never heard of this school, Bellarmine.
Yeah, they are in the ASUN conference. And I guess I can go on this whole soapbox about they were ineligible for the NCAA tournament this year. Bellarmine? I don't know. Bellarmine. They just recently moved up to D1 from D2, and there's these weird rules in place that you usually have to wait like 3 or 4 seasons before you're eligible for postseason play in Division I after you move up. They win their conference tournament this year, and they're ineligible to go. But there's like an appeal vote that's out there right now that would shorten the amount of time for them to be eligible for postseason play starting next year potentially. So,
they already missed their opportunity. They won their conference championship.
Yes, not the regular season, but the tournament.
Okay.
Conference tournament.
And we're not allowed to participate in the NCAA tournament.
That's exactly
because
right.
they were too new to Division I basketball.
You got that right.
Definitely not ready.
So now they're appealing and being like, okay, well, how about next year? Could we if we?
Yeah, because I think it's normally 4 years potentially, or 3 or 4 seasons, and it's only been 2.
Yeah, you've obviously done a lot of research on this. So, would you consider this like an antiquated rule that should be done away with?
I'm going to say unequivocally yes, and it's unbelievable, honestly, that this is a rule, and I think that it's like, for whatever reason, way back in the day when this rule was established, I guess it was just whoever made this rule, whoever the governing body was that decided upon this, just thought that it would take that long, 3-4 seasons for teams to get their house in order before they were eligible for postseason play. I wonder if it's also just to discourage D2 schools from trying to move up to D1. Because we already have like 360 teams basically.
Yeah, I guess.
I wonder if they're trying to keep more teams from moving up.
Interesting. Well,
just
anyway,
random facts.
Yeah. That's what we're here for. Dylan Penn, originally from Evansville, Indiana, and he was their point guard last year, and was a super high assist guy, decently low turnovers, not the best, not the worst. But he looks like he would be a graduate transfer basically and only have 1 year of eligibility.
Yeah, he kind of has a weird style. Like, he doesn't shoot many threes. He's crafty in the lane, though. Shoots from two pretty well. I actually think he may have been high school teammates with Drew Smith for one season. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, Evansville connection.
Yeah.
Kind of similar styles of play almost.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about a player that's kind of like Amari Davis. Doesn't shoot a lot of threes.
But a point guard that's making plays for other people.
Sure. Yeah, might have a different role on a different team.
Okay. We need a point guard so bad. So, who are we talking about here? Dylan Penn, Sean East.
Yep.
Pinson.
Xavier Pinson.
Those seem like we got to get two of those guys, right? Or one of them.
At least one is like a non-negotiable, yeah.
Yeah, one of them plus somebody we don't know about yet. Oof. Okay. Okay. How are you feeling about the guard spots? Like, something needs to happen, and nothing's happened yet. Are you feeling okay?
We're going to come out of this weekend with at least one or two commits. Like, it's like if they want some of these guys, they're going to get them. And a lot of these guys are guards. I feel okay. I don't think any of these guys really blow me away, but we need bodies. we need somebody that's not Boogie Coleman to bring the ball up. I actually feel really good about Sean East. He's already visited. He's not visiting this weekend. I think he's visiting like South Florida this weekend maybe, but I think he is who I feel most excited about. Also, who I feel like is likely to commit to Missouri.
Putting on the spot, how many years of eligibility does he have left?
2, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we need somebody. You mentioned briefly Connor Turnbull.
Mm-hmm.
He is a 6'10" post player from Fort Zumwalt North, here in the great state of Missouri.
O'Fallon, Missouri.
Yeah, he is just considered a 3-star player according to 24/7 Sports. The number 8 player in Missouri.
Yeah, I think that's pretty bogus.
He's a little bit underrated, and I don't know. Either Missouri wasn't really high on him, or he wasn't vibing with the coaching staff, or something, because it didn't seem like his recruitment to Mizzou really existed that much. He was committed to Butler, but he asked out of his letter of intent. They granted that. He's back on the market. And Missouri, I think, is definitely in on him, and seriously could be one of the leaders to land him.
Yeah, it sounds like Gates was on him pretty quickly after. I don't even think he had publicly announced his decommitment yet, and Gates was already talking to him as soon as he heard that he was asking out of the NLI from Butler. But honestly, I'm really high on Connor Turnbull, and I was before he committed to Butler. I really wanted him to end up at Missouri. I think he has a really special skill set, like you said, 6'10", but moves really well for a big guy. Can step out and shoots threes. I think he had like 38% or something his senior year. Averaged 23 points and 12 rebounds his senior year. I don't know. I think he has a really unique skill set, and anytime you have a big guy that can move like that, I don't know, with that kind of footwork and athleticism, I think you gotta give him a look for sure.
Any idea? I mean, are we up against like maybe Kansas State or another regional school?
I think our biggest competition is Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
And Wisconsin came in a little bit after Missouri did. I think they're trying to get him to visit. Apparently St. Louis is in on him as well. I'm not quite as worried about St. Louis maybe, but I think it's probably down to Wisconsin and Missouri. But
it makes sense for St. Louis. If a St. Louis kid decommits,
yeah,
you want to kick the tires on that.
For sure. I think Missouri was trying to get him on a visit this weekend, but I don't think that he has decided on a location yet.
Okay. Well, so he would be a freshman next season.
Correct. Yeah, same class as Shaw.
Right. Okay. Well, if he were to commit to Missouri, then like don't need any more front court help. We would be definitely done there.
Exactly. And, I would probably rather, and maybe this is a dangerous statement potentially because Noah Carter is a known commodity at the Division I level, But, man, I think I would honestly take Turnbull over Noah Carter at this point just because of his size and obviously 2 more years of eligibility than Noah Carter has. Actually, he might have 3 years, but I think I am really excited about Turnbull, and I would really like him to be at Missouri.
Missouri made a top 10 for Terry Roberts, the Bradley transfer, for what that's worth.
Yeah, it seems like a long shot, but it's you never know.
Then there's one more person I wanted to talk about with you, and his name is Javon Pickett. Have you heard of him?
I have.
He's in the transfer portal officially. There's been no talk of like he's been in talks with this school or that school. So-and-so's reached out to him. But there's been no talks that he's talked to the new Mizzou staff either.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to just not worry about that? That ship has sailed, do you think? Or
I feel like probably, yeah. I think he isn't going to move on, most likely. Just because I think he was the poster child of the Konzo Martin archetype.
Right.
And but I mean, you never know, and I think that there's a lot to like about Gates, obviously, and it seems like the energy in the program right now is really high, and obviously momentum seems to be kind of shifting the other direction obviously for the good. So I feel he spent 4 years here, and I feel like he loves the state of Missouri, and I feel like and you never know, you don't rule it out completely, and if he wanted to come back, I'd probably welcome it. And he works hard, and he always kind of finds he's not super athletic obviously, but always kind of finds a way to get buckets.
Yeah, I'm trying to I feel like there's maybe a slight comparison to Kevin Puryear when Konzo took over. Puryear kind of he was going to embrace a less prominent role in the offense, especially with the Porter brothers coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually ended up being huge that he was on the roster.
Seriously.
After those guys got injured both seasons, and he really had to step up and contribute, but not in the same way that he was required to as a freshman and sophomore.
Yeah.
So I can kind of maybe draw some similarities there with Pickett, where it could work for him to come back and not be asked to do so much.
Yeah,
Pickett's, I feel like that's almost the story for this entire roster from last year's team. But
it's weird. Pickett literally started day one of his Mizzou career. So did Kevin Puryear, and they were both probably asked to do too much right off the bat. But I can't remember what I was going to say. What did you say right before that?
Oh, just that there's similarities there, and if I could see if he did decide to come back, if that's even an option, he could still. There's no doubt he could have success in a role that fits him better.
Honestly, I feel like you said, I could see that being true for a lot of the pieces that we had last year, just in a different role and made different coaching, different offense. I definitely think that all of those guys were successful enough to get to where they were at Missouri with, a year of SEC ball under their belt, a different coach, a different system. I could see any of those guys being very reliable pieces.
Pickett only started 2 games his junior season, but he played in all 26. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
We played a lot of Penson, Drew Smith, Mark Smith.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay, I think we're pretty well caught up on potential players, and we talked about the visit this weekend. Man, we need some guards. That'd make me feel so much better about where we're going. But it sounds like we're gonna have news this weekend, and
yeah, definitely keep an eye on Twitter, and there's gonna be hopefully some good news coming out of this weekend. I definitely think Sean East is a Mizzou lean at this point, but he's still going to take some visits. So I think we'll have another couple, another week or two maybe on Sean East. But I don't know, it's an exciting time. Still have 3 or 4 spots to fill, and maybe more if we get more. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah. So everybody wants to know, Kyle, are you proud of yourself?
About what?
You picked Kansas to win the national championship. And by all accounts, from everybody, all of my sources indicate to me you were rooting hard for them every step of the way.
Mm-hmm. Who's your sources?
Me. And
And
also
me.
producer Cameron
Well,
told me.
you guys are wrong. It was kind of one of those things where, okay, unfortunately, yes, I selected Kansas to win my bracket.
And you won the Missouri Sports Podcast bracket competition.
Yeah, I did.
We did one this year.
We were going to, but then Kyle picked Kansas, and we said,
never mind.
the integrity of this entire competition is at risk.
I'm really sorry, guys. I decided to play the probability game a little bit, play a little strategy. It was almost like a little joke in the moment, and then it just like ended up, just unraveling, and more people found out about it, and that's how it goes. That's how, I just felt like a criminal almost. Just trying to hide it, but I couldn't, and it was just out there. And then I started becoming successful because of it, and despite my feeling bad about it, but at the same time, it was just a little bit of hedging, like where it's like, I hate Kansas, but maybe I can get something good out of it for myself. Maybe I can further my own pleasure from Kansas winning, because it was bound to happen because they're a good team and they had an easy road. They played like all double digits.
Yeah.
And I mean, legitimately though, I feel like they had a very easy region.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were noticing that before the tournament even started. And I felt like they had a good path. And I was just along for the ride, And you guys want to know anything else about it? Yeah, I feel fine. I feel just fine, honestly.
Wow.
Like, I took some heat for it on the Discord and everything, but I'm over it. I'm a champion.
If you want to ream Kyle,
Rima.
visit patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Sign up for the...
Yeah.
Sign up for the Discord tier. Get in there and tell them.
Tell them what you
You
think.
could literally say any word you want to me, and I'll just have to take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Customer's always right. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I feel fine. I'm over it.
Okay.
I'm the champion for an entire
You're
year.
over it.
You've disappointed a lot of people. Is all. And we're not
that's
we're
what
not mad. We're disappointed.
That's fine, and that's what happens whenever you climb the ranks in life. Is you just can't keep everybody happy, and you just gotta keep pressing on and do what's best for you. But I still did wear this Missouri shirt just to make sure everybody knew I was still a Mizzou fan. Today.
I'm surprised you didn't burn all your Mizzou gear.
Yeah.
Well, no, why would I do that?
Because you're a traitor. Kyle, I need you to know.
Sickening.
I need to confess I don't actually feel this way about you, but I just feel like I really have to stick it to you.
Stick
ream
to
you.
the man. Yeah.
On behalf.
Really give you the business.
Yeah,
really
on
give
behalf of the folks in the Discord, because
they do feel that way.
that all for this week?
I think that's it.
All right. Hopefully we get some more assistant coaches and basketball players.
Absolutely.
Preferably ones that can dribble. Should I do my radio voice to thank the patrons?
That's completely up to you.
Thank you to the Patreons at the $10 level and above. Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan Demore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Luis Hernandez, Tim Keens, and Tyler Harsel.
Thank you, boys. You can find this podcast on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Missouri Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
My radio voice is also like halfway like arena announcer voice.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next week.